Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. It's another day's journey, and I am so glad about it and so grateful for your joining me today as we consider normally what we do. It's 5 o'clock. It's our normal prayer time, and it's our normal time of gathering together. And I'm so grateful. I hope that you had a wonderful week and had a wonderful time on last week. And now it's time for us to get together just to get ready for next week, get ready for tomorrow morning in worship. I want you to know how blessed we were today. The principals came out this morning, and then we had our baby shower and blessing. And when we say blessing, it does not take the place of our normal dedications, but we had mothers and fathers and their children come to get all of the things necessary for being necessary for their journey from our doula ministry, and necessary to take home if you're preparing for your first child or your fourth child. And I want to give a shout out to our doula ministry, sanctification community, Reverend Leroy Miles, the commission community, Reverend Will Martin, all of the deaconess, and everyone who played a role in ministering to families of our faith today. So thank you so much. I want to remind you that we will be back in Bible study coming up this week, and just looking forward to it. But what are we doing tonight? We're here again doing what we did with the gubernatorial and the senatorial race, and we're here focusing on our city from a faith perspective. And for the next few weeks, and I'm grateful to all of the mayoral candidates. They have all committed to coming on. And each Saturday evening at 5 o'clock, I'm going to have one candidate to talk about why they are running for mayor. Now, why am I doing this? Who do I think I am? What is this? This is not getting in the way of any other. I am not representing anybody but Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. It is an opportunity. We have a platform and a voice, and it's an opportunity for us to ask questions so that you can hear. I know that there are going to be plenty of other mayoral candidate forums. I know that there are going to be other wonderful opportunities for debate, and I encourage you all to stay tuned. But what this is my representing you and asking those who would be our mayor to help us understand and hear who they are and why they are running, to find out from them what they think the issues are in our community and what they plan to do about it. This will be followed up after all, I believe 8 or 9 of them have been on this particular program. You can look forward to a forum where they will all come together. And then another journalist is going to take us into a next round. We want to join in the myriad voices that are asking questions about our next mayor. This election coming up, as it has been said, all politics are local. And in a very real sense, this next election is, as we've been saying about these others, but in a very real sense, it's one of the most important elections for you, because we're going to be deciding a mayor. We're going to be deciding judges. We're going to be replacing city council people. And it's going to shape what Philadelphia looks and feels like, literally, for the next 8 years. It is going to shape how Philadelphia repairs to the larger state, because our senators are in place, our governor is in place, and now there needs to be a local political representative that is going to handle our local affairs, but also represent us and be in communication with the larger state. So we're here tonight. And we are going to be talking with the first mayoral candidate, and that is mayoral candidate Cherelle Parker. Let me just name this first of all. I am appreciative that candidate Parker has come. We're going to let her introduce herself to you. Remember, I'm not running for office, so I'm not debating. I am not here to show you how much I know. I'm here to ask questions and let the candidates speak for themselves, and you judge. You hold on to these things will stay up, and you will have a record of what they have said. We'll go for about 35 minutes, and this hopefully will cover the main things of their candidacy. And so let me name this, that we're appreciative that candidate Parker is coming first. That is a brave thing to do. I mean, being the first one, you don't know what the format's going to look like. You don't know what the response is going to be. Others can come and riff on you. And so I want to signal that and show appreciation for candidate Parker for doing just that. And that in and of itself is leadership. And so we appreciate you. So why don't you come on now? Our first mayoral candidate for these next 8 weeks, the 9th Councilmanic Ward District, Representative Cherelle Parker. How are you today? And thank you for being with us.
Thank you so very much, Pastor Waller, for having me. Good evening to our Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church family and to all members of the viewing public. As stated, my name is Cherelle Parker. I am a Democratic candidate for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. And thank you, Pastor, for giving me the opportunity to open and share a bit about who I am. I think this foundation is important. The foundation is because it will help to inform some of the proposals you're going to hear me talk about a little later. I, Cherelle Parker, was born to a single teenage mother in 1972. My mother got pregnant with me at the tender age of 15. My father was not present in my life. I was very fortunate to be raised by my grandparents. My grandmother from Manning, South Carolina, was a domestic worker, and my grandfather from Accomack County, Virginia, was a Navy veteran. When my mother got pregnant, they were in North Philadelphia. They had lived in Richard Allen homes, moved from Richard Allen to 7th and Dauphin. When my mother got pregnant with me, they moved to Northwest Philadelphia. And that's where I grew up. I am a product of the village. I am a graduate of the Philadelphia Public Schools, first college graduate in my family, Lincoln University, first Ivy League graduate in my family, master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania. LU would kill me if I didn't say that is where I became a certified secondary English teacher by profession. And with that in mind, I got engaged with community organizing in my neighborhood when crack cocaine came and had a negative impact on it during the 1980s. I interned in city council, learned how to serve people and neighborhoods during those very youthful years, and benefited greatly from the village in my community. I am a true Philadelphia daughter. I'm an Oak Lane Wildcat, ran track for the Philadelphia Flames, and really am a product of the human infrastructure, the village, depositing into the life of a young girl who, it was very clear, was not growing up like a Cosby kid. I'm not a privileged, I wasn't a privileged young person growing up, and or adult for that matter, and or I didn't have anything handed to me, on a silver platter or a silver spoon. And so I learned very early when my grandparents took care of me. They were on public assistance. I know what a 3-2 center is. I know what colored money is before it became a plastic card. I would go to the 3-2 center to get that financial support for me. So that's where my passion to close the gap between the haves and the have-nots. That's where my passion to use the tools of government and access to opportunity comes from, to put people on a path to self-sufficiency so they can take care of themselves. So Pastor Waller, thank you so very much for having me.
Well, thank you. And thank you for introducing yourself to us. Um, the obvious question is, why are you running for mayor?
I am running for mayor, Pastor, because right now our city is at a great crossroads. And that's not just a 30-second soundbite. The decisions that we will make today will determine the future economic prosperity of our city, the safety of our city, whether or not we can grow and do it in an equitable manner, and make sure that all rising tides are lifting all boats. Right now, more than anything, Philadelphia needs bold, innovative, and experienced leadership that will be prepared on day one to take advantage of that intergovernmental network that you just referenced to in the opening. Josh Shapiro, as the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, with a $10.5 billion with a B between surplus, along with rainy day funds and stimulus that we have received. Those dollars will have to be competed for in where they get invested. We have two now Democratic senators. Isn't it great to know that we will have them at the table to join the congressional delegation, Philadelphia congressional delegation, in advocating for our interests? But we should have leadership that knows how to access those dollars and access the technical supports of intergovernmental affairs. And there is no candidate who is in this race who brings that intergovernmental experience. And we also need to be strong enough here in our city. Our mayor is not just the mayor of the city, it is the CEO in chief, and it is the CEO and cheerleader in chief. We need someone who will not be afraid to make the tough decisions that are necessary in order to make sure that our city is safer, it is cleaner, it is greener, and it is economically viable for all. And I'm happy that there will be no on the ground sort of training for Cherelle Parker. I'll be prepared to lead Philadelphia on day one.
All right. Well, thank you. So leadership, part of leadership is having a vision. If I were to ask you, what are the top three, and there could be more than just three, but if you were to name top three concerns for Philadelphia right now that your vision will address, what would those three things be?
So I want to go back to making Philadelphia safer,
okay,
cleaner,
yep,
and I'll say access to economic opportunity for all.
okay.
If Philadelphia is not safer, all other industries will not thrive. There will be no one interested in coming to start a business in our city if they have employees who are not able to walk down the street, who are not able to go to a gas station without fear of being carjacked. These are real life and lived experiences that no one should be shamed about verbally stating that they don't feel safe. When I talk to people who live here, who work here, who are stakeholders, who own businesses here, that is the sentiment. And we have to have a mayor who is unapologetic about bringing and restoring order in our city and not allowing anyone to put us in a box to say, if you're interested in restoring order in our city, then you can't address the underlying causes of why we see all of this violence taking place, and that is not true. For members of the viewing public, I want to say this to you. I'm an English teacher, and I'm thinking about James Baldwin right now. He was in a debate about civil rights, and he told the opponent during the debate that I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. Philadelphians don't feel safe. There is a sense of hopelessness in our city and lawlessness, feeling like it is prevailing in our city, and Philadelphians want a leader who is not afraid to make the decisions. And I'm proud to say that I did that. So for everyone who comes before us, I am hoping that the viewing public, as you're evaluating all of the candidates, to make a determination about what you will do and who you will support, that you will take into consideration what we've done when we've had a seat at the table, particularly for those of us who have been elected. When I was in council, I introduced the Philadelphia Neighborhood Safety and Community Policing Plan. It called for 300 on the ground, proactive officers engaging in community policing. What does it look like, Cherelle? It looks like officers walking the beat, riding bikes, getting out of their cars, signing a log on our commercial quarters, checking on rec centers, libraries, and in neighborhoods, getting to know the communities that they're sworn to protect and serve. And before I introduced that plan, which was comprehensive, of course, it called for making sure that we were able to recruit and fill that 1,500, 1,600 member complement. But these 300 officers would be dispersed across the city of Philadelphia, proactively engaged in community policing. And people say, Cherelle, don't do it. You have a bright political future, but the Instagram and the Twitter warriors will come after you if you call for more policing right now. It is not a popular thing to do. I very diplomatically listened and said, well, I've never been concerned in my career about doing anything because it was popular. I did it because I heard what people said to me in neighborhoods across the city from the ground up. They weren't calling for defunding of the police. They were calling for a proactive law enforcement in their neighborhoods without misusing and or abusing its authority. And it will be zero tolerance for that under a Parker administration. So everything that you've heard me say, from safer, cleaner, greener, access to economic opportunity for all, I am proud that there is a plan that I've instituted that's been citywide: cleaning Broad and Alyn, neighborhood commercial quarters, not clean. Looked out my office in City Hall and said, wait a minute, there is a solution. Center City's just not more cleaner than other neighborhoods just because it's cleaner. How about it was cleaner because it was someone's job to literally pick up the trash? You know, they were uniformed. We started PHLTCB, taking care of businesses in commercial quarters across the city. It is now a citywide program in neighborhoods across the city of Philadelphia. We will scale that up to take care of those islands in our city, around residential areas that have seen an influx in dumping. We will make sure that we have people who live in neighborhoods paid $15 plus, along with soft skills training and development, OSHA training, site safe serve training, so that we can use this as a level of entree to help to put people on a path to self-sufficiency. So in everything that we do, and when someone says they care about public safety, I want you to think, now, wait a minute, is this new, or have you always cared about public safety? And if it was important, what did you do when you had a seat at the table in order to solve it? That's what I plan on doing. I'm a get it done Democrat. People say, well, where do you fall? People want leadership who can fix things and get things done. I represented Philadelphia and Harrisburg when I was a state representative for 10 years. I chaired the Philadelphia delegation 5 of those years, Republican governor, Republican House, Republican controlled Senate, but we had to deliver on big ticket items like funding for public education, support to make more fair our tax structure here in the city of Philadelphia. And guess what? I didn't use a bullhorn to go and shout down legislators whose support that I needed, but I worked hard to get to yes and build a common ground to make sure that when I came back to the city of Philadelphia as chair of the delegation, I didn't come back void. I'm Cherelle Parker, delivered for the city of Philadelphia during a very crucial time. And Lord knows the people of Philadelphia give me the opportunity. I'm going to deliver for them as their mayor.
All right. Thank you for that. For those of us that listen to policy, and I appreciate what you just said, dealing with the issues of policing, is there a policy change or a policy that you want to address? Because I think that what you said is what we want to hear. But for those that are listening for policy, what is different? What would be the different policy under Parker administration that is different, that is going to produce the type of policing you're talking about?
Pastor, that is very simply called leadership. You can enact as many policies and rules and laws as you like. You have to have a mayor who says to anybody who's sworn to protect and serve, and we're going to work hard to recruit and develop pipelines for as many Philadelphians as possible, that first, there will be zero tolerance for any misuse and or abuse of authority here in the city of Philadelphia. And I, as the mayor, appoint the police commissioner and the rank and file, and they will know that, and that is clear. But at the same time, I also want to be clear about the fact that I will be unapologetic about standing up and affirmatively supporting the law enforcement department, our police department that is sworn to protect and serve us. We will make sure that body-worn cameras are on every working body-worn cameras are on every officer that is patrolling our streets. We will never go back to the Rizzo years when it was standard operating procedure to treat Black communities any way you wanted to. I am the mother, pastor, of a 10-year-old Black boy who has locks and is chocolate like his mother. So law enforcement misusing and abusing their authority, particularly when they're policing Black and brown communities, is not something that's lost on me. But I would argue that it is the leadership of the executive in this city in making sure that officers have everything that they need to effectively and efficiently keep us safe, the appropriate training, the appropriate technology and forensics, quality of life issues. Again, the neighborhood safety and community policing plan, it included better lighting. It included funding for cameras from a comprehensive perspective. And again, Enon, this is important to me that you notice it's not a new phenomenon for me to advocate for, even with police-worn body cameras. But these were things that I spent the political capital to advocate for during my tenure as a member of council and in city council. So it's leadership, not just one policy, not just one thing. It is the type of leadership provided by the executive of the city, to me, that's most significant to helping to keep us safe.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. So you talked to us about policing, you talked to us about community cleanup. Obviously, we'd like to hear how you are going to address education. We are concerned about education properly funding. Some of us are fighting for the fair funding formula, but there's only so much that the fair funding formula coming from the state is going to do. What is your vision for addressing education in public education in Philadelphia?
One of the things and I'm going to sound like a broken record, Pastor, when folks hear me talking about this platform, a safer, cleaner, greener Philadelphia with access to economic opportunity for all. We need a first-class modern education system. Our kids should leave our district learning how to read, write, think, speak, and compute at a level that will allow them to compete in this global economy. We can't do that, Pastor, functioning like it was when our district was founded, when we were an agrarian society, when our students had off during the summer because they had to go and work the farms. Think about scheduling now. A friend of mine called me, Cherelle, well, I can't, drop my child off until 8:45. Another one said the school doesn't open until 9. Well, my son knows that he has a working mom who doesn't have banker hours. So students need to be able to get into their schools earlier, right? So how about students being able to arrive as early as 7:30 and able to leave and stay in those school buildings until at least 6 o'clock, being provided with academic enrichment that's not a part of the traditional school day. I don't care if we're talking about the financial literacy, robotics, if it's chess, if it's a different kind of sport. We have to be willing to do things differently and think big about how we provide public education. In addition to that, we should be training. If you want to get my blood boiling, Think about industries that are growing in the city of Philadelphia. I was at an event and they talked about the life sciences and biotech being the industry that's allowing Philadelphia to be so competitive that we're right on the heels of Boston, considered to be sort of one of the meccas of the biotech and life sciences industry in the US. And now Wistar and Community College of Philadelphia, they have established a training program where we are training folks directly for those jobs. And if you get the specialized training, you can earn up to $60,000 to $75,000. We need to do more of that. The route that I took in terms of attending college, going to undergrad, going to Penn for my master's, where I'll be paying Penn for the rest of my life, that student loan debt I had to assume because I wasn't fortunate enough to have a corporation to pay my tab or to have a parent or a family member that could pay it for me. We need to think about immersing CTE. We need to be immersing workforce development as a standard operating procedure. So one of the powers of the mayor is convening power. You imagine getting all of the leadership of all of the industries that are growing and thriving in the city of Philadelphia, along with Dr. Generals over at CCP, the head of our school district, and everyone comes in a room. I'm thinking about Clancy, and all of us come in the room and we're making sure that the school district of Philadelphia has as a standard operating procedure across the board, available in all high schools, the ability to train specifically for industries that are thriving right here in our city. So that's one. Next, second, let me say this. I've been unapologetic about my support for public education long before it became a very popular thing to do. And as you heard me say, I've delivered for the school district of Philadelphia, and I'm proud of that work in an environment where I didn't have a choir behind me. Sometimes it's easy to sing and get work done, Enon, when you're in an audience where everyone agrees with you. But I thank God, and I didn't see it then, that I had the opportunity to go and work in a highly partisan charged environment, and had to learn how to sit down and do what I call GTY, get to yes, with people I agreed to disagree with 95% of the time, but am proud to have worked with them to deliver for the school district on some important issues. So state of the art, first class, 21st century, modern education system that really is preparing our children to compete in a global economy. Pastor, you mentioned that funding formula, and of course I was a very strong advocate for it. We have the formula, right? Formula's great. Formula's not the problem. Now it's having the dollars to drive through the system. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I'm never going to relax on is that reimbursement, that charter school reimbursement line item that sort of took funding that was available to traditional public schools, and that happened during my tenure in Harrisburg. I watched that line item sort of dissipate, because think about the fixed costs of running your house. No matter what, your electric bill, is a certain amount. And no matter how many people leave the house, if you keep the same number of lights on, it's still going to cost the same amount to pay that electric. And so I watched the school district struggle with trying to balance that out. But I support quality seats. And I don't care if we're talking about charters or if we're talking about traditional public. I just want that charter school reimbursement line item restored, but I want quality seats. I want all of our children to be able to compete.
Thank you for that. Obviously, public safety and the lack thereof is an outgrowth of challenges to education and challenges to economics. Martin King talked about this 50 years ago, that one of the greatest next challenges would be how we slice up the pie. Here in Philadelphia, African Americans make up 44% of the population. 2 years ago, the city of Philadelphia bragged about having 30% of minority participation. But underneath that 30%, the reality was that less than 8% really went to Black businesses. Most of us who see Philadelphia, the larger world sees Philadelphia as the buckle on the money belt between New York and DC. We claim to be a poor city, but quite frankly, there is money here. It just doesn't seem to be making its way into the Black community. What can the mayor do to increase minority population, specifically Black, and create better economic opportunity in Philadelphia? What does that look like in your vision?
Pastor, I want us to go back. Remember James Baldwin. I can't believe what you say because I see what you do.
Yep.
I am proud to note for the record, and it's important that people not only listen to what I say, but I want you to check out what I've done, so that you will see what I'm going to do. Pastor, you said what's under that 30%, sort of when you peel back the layers. During my tenure in council, I introduced the Walter P. Lomax Transparency in Business Act. There were some people who didn't get where we were going, but I was trying to empower the tool of transparency, forcing firms who've had the benefit of building generational wealth year after year, doing business with the city, to peel back those layers to tell us what you look like, so that we can see who was benefiting from building that generational wealth. That's one. The next step for us to do is to continue to make that information available, and I would argue staff it so that we can really know who these folks are. But now, just like being a mayor and running the city, you have to have the best and the brightest teams with you. That means procurement. That means standard operating procedure to ensure that, and be intentional and public about the fact that Black people will have an opportunity, Black and brown people will have an opportunity to do business in the city of Philadelphia. And how will you incentivize it? Now, here comes that bold, innovative, and experienced thinking. How about an investment fund? Della Clark over at the Enterprise Center is working on building a fund that will develop capital, not debt capital, Pastor. Black and brown businesses, while we may have some challenges in getting access to loans, where we really are at a disadvantage is getting access to capital and not debt capital. Proactively being able to innovate and grow the business without thinking about, oh, we got the loan. How do I make payroll and still start paying back these payments on the loan I just received? So there's a way that we can, in a very innovative manner, bring city dollars to the table and leverage them to make investments. I won't give too much today. The only thing I will tell you is that very soon you will hear an overarching plan about enhancing the number of Black and brown businesses and growing generational wealth in the city of Philadelphia that the Parker campaign will proffer. But it's innovative thinking. And when I say this, Pastor, I want to go back to an issue you just mentioned earlier when you talked about safety. Poverty is a problem, education is a challenge, but the opioid crisis is something we didn't mention. And it sort of has a hamper on the city of Philadelphia. But guess what we've never done from an innovative approach? Just like you heard me mention the times that we deliver public education. If parents are able to get to school, get to a job earlier in the morning, knowing that they don't get off at 3:15 when the child does, they get off at 6. That is economic enrichment and economic opportunity via childcare for women and families and men who don't have those banker hours. But even with the opioid crisis, guess what we've never done? We've never said, yes, this is a challenge in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, but it's actually a regional problem. If you were to, we would call it ward and division, find out where those who are suffering from the opioid addiction, where they come from, they are not all Philadelphians. Why have we not used an intergovernmental regional approach? What could it look like? best and brightest behavioral health and mental health institutions in the city of Philadelphia. Penn, Drexel, best research medical institutions in the world. Why haven't we thought about developing a campus? Got every, a county executive and leader in a 5-county area together to say, why can't we build a state-of-the-art campus that includes, listen, what people who are suffering from opioid addiction tell us, not what we think we know is best. Some people would view a safe injection site as a solution to addressing opioid addiction and/or overdose prevention. But if you talk to people who are addicted, they will tell you they need 3 things. They need long-term treatment, they need long-term housing, long-term education, and access to an opportunity. So just like we watch those commercials that come on television, you have a substance abuse problem, an alcohol abuse problem, you should come here and you can beat that addiction. And I train quills, environment, and you see the waterfalls, and you see the swimming pools, and you see the medical experts there. And we haven't thought big enough about bringing people in the room to figure out whether or not a campus, not Barberry, not that old model, that's subpar, that, reeked of people who weren't wealthy, and poverty. And because of that, they were mistreated. And we remember the ugly stories associated with that. But thinking big and bold and figuring out a way to address this issue where it just doesn't simply fall on Philadelphia's shoulders. And we may not have the sprawling land, but out of the 5-county area that we have, some region in that area has access to industrial sites or vacant land where we could build the state-of-the-art campus that could providing long-term treatment, long-term housing, education, and economic opportunities for those that are facing substance abuse, alcohol abuse, mental and behavioral health challenges. But we haven't thought that big. That's what the convening power and the intergovernmental experience that you've heard me describe. That's what Cherelle Parker brings to the table.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate you spending this time with us and giving us sort of a 100-foot view of your vision. Help, again, those of us who might want to ask the question, what are you going to do? So we talk a lot about the first 100 days. So Cherelle Parker wins the election. She goes in. What happens the first 100 days in a Parker administration?
Well, on day one, the best and the brightest team that we will already have established will get to work on day one, and they will be some of the best and the brightest necessary to ensure that Philadelphia is doing, the mayor is doing, our city is doing what our residents want, and that is making government work for the people. Right now, people feel like government is broken. There are 2 primary things that a mayor is supposed to do, and this is according to the Home Rule Charter. This is by law. It is the efficient administration of the city of Philadelphia and its business, along with public safety. We are going to make sure that we have implemented our community policing plan. We are going to restore order and be unapologetic about it. And there are going to be some people who are going to say, we don't like her plan. It's a tad bit too heavy-handed. She's too focus on law enforcement. Our approach will be comprehensive, but we will get community policing actively engaged in our community across the city. In addition to that, we will have met with all of our city workers to let them know that we value them and what they do, and we will establish systems for accountability. There is no reason why I can know when an Uber is coming, but not know when certain city services that I'm in need of are actually being addressed. We have to be more technically efficient efficient and maximize the efficient use of scarce city resources. So that's what we will make sure that we do. We will also use the convening power of the mayor immediately to get a grip on what we see happening in Kensington right now. We will use federal, we will use state, and we will use local government, and we will all come together, and every resource that is available, every tool in the toolbox that we need to restore order in Kensington, rest assured we will put it to good use. And Philadelphia won't do it alone, but you have to know how to harness the power and intergovernmental expertise in order to address those problems. So we put the team together that's the best and the brightest. We get community policing engaged in neighborhoods across the city. I'm not just talking about the 57 blocks where people talk about the most crime occurring, the prevention strategy, gun violence prevention strategy. We need all of those targeted programs, but we will do that, walk and chew gum at the same time. But we will use every tool in our toolbox, every tool at our disposal to ensure that we are making Philadelphia safer. And I am unapologetic about that, and proud that I advocated for it and proffered a plan when it wasn't a popular thing to do, and something that I have been a strong advocate for.
Thank you for that. And thank you for being here tonight. This one question that I'm going to ask you, and you can wrestle with it or talk about what I have said in times before. I've said that all 8 of you have qualities that could be the mayor. Only one of you is going to win. My concern with Philadelphia politics, I own this, is that at times it can be so bloody that when we get through this, one of you will win and be so bloodied that the mayor is about the only thing you'll be left able to do, and the others will be out of commission. Will you commit to running a campaign that focuses on what you're good at, and not go down in the dirt and turn this into a cesspool? Will you commit to running a positive campaign and not getting into the muddiness and ugliness of campaigning? I'm going to ask this to everyone, and I'm asking as a pastor, can you commit to running a positive campaign?
Pastor, you heard me open by saying Philadelphia needs bold, innovative, and experienced leadership that is not afraid to make the tough decisions necessary in order to move our city forward. We also need leadership with a proven track record of getting things done. And because I am so proud of the portfolio of work that I've done when I've used my district as a model, sort of as a laboratory, and we've been able to scale programs citywide, I am so excited about debating ideas, debating how we deliver public education and why it should be modernized, debating how we're going to clean Philadelphia up, how we're going to make city services more efficient and effective, and to do what people have said to me, Cherelle, just get it done. That's what we know about you. If you're elected, we know we're just going to get it done. Those are the issues, Pastor, that I'm going to be interested in debating. I don't know and can't speak for other people, but the Parker campaign, we're going to be interested in talking about what we've done. Check out the work that we've done. Look at what we're proposing today. So you'll see what we'll do when we're elected mayor of the city of Philadelphia. And with the people's support, we can do that.
Thank you very much. Where can people go to look for your platform? Is there a website? Is there something that people can follow up what you're talking about?
Yes, well, I can be reached at CherelleParker.com. I want to spell it, Pastor, because everybody calls me Cherelle. Cherelle. Okay. So it's Cherelle, Parker, Parker, no dots, CherelleParker.com. We are under construction. We have literature available right now. We have people have asked us for posters. They've asked us for palm cards. But if you want to reach us, make sure you click the contact link at CherelleParker.com, our website. Send me out a message, an invitation to come see you, to come meet with you. you to talk about what your thoughts and ideas are. I'll pass it if I can. I want to close just by saying I was at an event here at the PA Society yesterday, and someone said, Cherelle, this has got to be an exciting time for you. It's 2023. Philadelphia, the birthplace of democracy, will be electing its 100th mayor. They've never had a woman mayor before. Aren't you excited about it? And I said to the person, in no way, shape, or form am I telling you that representation doesn't matter. It definitely does, because you can't be what you don't see. But what's more important than becoming a historical footnote in the history of our city is implementing and bringing the kind of leadership that is bold, innovative, and experienced, with a proven track record of getting things done. So that's what I'm interested in making history about. I've been a chocolate woman all of my life, and I am certainly proud of it. But I'm interested in competing for the heart and soul of our city based on my track record, service, and delivery to a city I love so much that has given so much to a young woman who, according to statistics, shouldn't be sitting where she is right now. So thank you all so very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Cherelle Parker, candidate Cherelle Parker. Thank you for going first. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. Listen, saints, we're going to have a word of prayer. I want to remind you, don't forget, brothers, we gather together in the morning for our Bible study. Obviously, we got 6:45 service and 10 o'clock service, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you. And I want you to know, I want you to read this. I want you to watch this. I want you to encourage people to watch it. I'm going to be doing this every Saturday with one of them. Let me remind you, we are here to let people talk. We're here to let you hear. This is your opportunity. Make your decision based on what you hear. We're going to ask the same questions. It'll be this same format each time. I'm going to go for the commitment for this to be a clean fight. I'm going to be asking each person to answer why they're running. What are they going to do? What are their top 3 things? But what are they going to do about public safety, economics? What are they going to do about education, addressing what is happening in our city? You need to pick the one who sounds like your vision, that sounds like they care about your concerns. Tonight, we've been with mayoral candidate Cherelle Parker, and we thank her for being there. And I look forward to sharing, and we're getting ready to pray for her and pray for this experience. And I look forward to seeing you in the morning. God, I bless you and thank you for what we have seen and heard. I thank you for this robust opportunity to hear one vision for our city. And we look forward to the other 7. And we look forward, oh God, to hearing your voice. Help us discern what is your will and way. And then, oh God, we pray that for all those who will stand behind sacred desks tomorrow, that you will bless the preaching of the gospel, that someone will come asking, what must I do to be saved? And that, God, we would be drawn closer together as the body of Christ, and that we would be a part of the answer in the city of Philadelphia. So God, I thank you for this experience. Help us, Lord, to become the city of brotherly love. Help us to become the city that you have called us to be. And we'll be ever so mindful to give you all the praise, glory, and honor. I pray these and all of the blessings through the matchless, marvelous, and majestic name of Jesus the Christ. And for his sake we do pray. Let us all say, amen. Amen. Listen, love you all much. I can't wait to see you in the morning. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer.